We've got a special guest in the Mod Nation workshop. Twisted from DragonMods.net is going to show you how he makes his custom circuit boards, like this one he made for the PimpRig Tribute PC. It's going to be our hard drive activity meter that's going to go right behind this bezel. Let's see how he does it. Today we're making a custom LED board for your PC. So Vern, go ahead and show us what's involved with this.
Alright, well, first and foremost you have your copper clad board. You have specialty paper, which is known as press and peel blue. You use that for transferring your artwork to the copper. Toner in laser printers is 50% plastic, so it melts after you heat it. It'll stick to the copper, and the paper allows it to actually release without breaking. After that, and you get your artwork on. Now this is a double-sided board, which requires a little bit extra work to line it all up. But after you get your artwork transferred, you go to the etching process, which today I'm going to show you a new method that I've just found. A little bit more involved than using a tank, but it proved to be quite useful. I've already done one board with it, and essentially all you need is your ferric chloride, a sponge, and your board, and gloves. You don't want to get this stuff on you. It'll stain anything. You get it on your shirt, it's there for life. So you just get some of the ferric chloride and make sure you have a nice clean, work area that you don't mind messing up.
Yeah, I noticed you got this tub you're working over. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, get it, basically have something to isolate any spills. And you get it, soak some ferric chloride into your sponge, and you just start working it over. You don't have to press really hard. We're just basically letting the ferric chloride do the work. And then you can notice after the first couple of wipes, we'll move over here and kind of wipe it off. Notice how the copper's got kind of a redder tone to it now. That's where the ferric chloride's actually starting to eat at it.
Oh, I see.
So, basically the process, just back and forth, start wiping. And the process basically goes is you're breaking the surface tension of the ferric chloride to help carry the copper away. And that's the general idea behind this method. And what's good about it is it doesn't require a whole lot of ferric chloride, whereas an etching tank, you got your cost of an etching tank, and takes about 1/3 of a gallon to fill most etching tanks, and a gallon of ferric chloride is going to run you almost $60. So you just keep going back and forth, and it takes quite a while according to the grade of copper you have on your copper clad board. The one I done last night took me about, I want to say, 5 to 6 minutes for both sides. This one's probably going to take a little bit longer. It's a little bit heavier copper. You can see how it's kind of washing the copper out there. I can't really get it. Here, let's move over here. See how it's kind of discoloring it?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what people really like about your boards is you do these custom logos and text on them. That's really awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the things that a lot of people actually ask me for. I've done a board before that was probably 90% just custom art, 10% circuit board. Alright, as you can see, I'm starting to break copper now. It's been probably 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes in. Like I said, it's going to take a little bit more with this board. Let me go over here to the water, whoop, and hopefully not spill it. And you can actually see where it's actually breaking through the copper.
Yeah.
And I did grab blue board because, well, it's just nice.
Yeah, that is sweet, man.
So we'll go back to rubbing the board and getting the copper off, and then we'll move on to the other side. And I think we're just about done. think we got both sides completely through the copper. As you can see, the ferric chloride has gotten really dark. That's from the copper actually infusing into the solution. Once those little dots dry, they're actually going to be little green crystals there, and that's actually the ferric chloride and the copper. So now we'll move over, give it a little bath. Try not to touch too much of it because I'm going to have to get this ferric chloride off my gloves. And here's the final board with the toner still attached.
Nice. So what's the next stage, Ray?
The next thing we would want to do, it's already pre-drilled because I have to have a legend to do my double-sided. But the next thing we would want to do is get it dried off and actually cut the board out. Make sure I have all the ferric chloride off, because you really have to make sure you get all of it off, because it can go up under those traces and really wreck it. So yeah. You'll usually know, because like I said, this stuff stains everything, and it won't stick to the stuff, but once it dries a little bit, it kind of discolors. So you can really tell whenever you're getting all of it off. I was just thinking, it'd be bad catch me cutting my finger off. Alright, well, here we are with the finished product. It's, you know, a little bit of the copper's been exposed, but no big deal. Now we got to clean it off, and about the best thing they suggest for doing this is a piece of Scotch-Brite. Now I use normally steel wool. They say don't use steel wool, it's too rough. Well, I use double-aught steel wool and it works just fine, but I'm going to bring Scotch-Brite and use that today. It works pretty good, and it, you know, you just take and start going over it, light pressure. Don't try to pull the copper off the board, especially when you do something, you know, this intricate. I've wrecked boards by doing that. And you just start slowly but surely taking off the toner and some of the board, apparently.
Ah, that looks great, the golden blue.
Yeah, it is very nice contrast. I am wearing gloves again, and that's mainly to protect the copper, because as you know, copper will tarnish fairly easy. So just one little fingerprint and you'll start looking like that, which, you know, that board can be cleaned up, but you know, it's just, that's a history piece right there. That's PimpRig history.
It is.
And you know, that's the reason I don't like using Scotch-Brite. You go through it quick, because this stuff is just so rough. Here's the finished board after cleaning it up. Pretty much got all the toner off of it. You see some of the edges are still there. I just had those there for guides. They're not really going to hurt nothing. I guess now is the point where we actually start populating components. We've already test fit the board, and it fits the, you know, bezel perfectly. So, all right, here's the bezel that's going on the PimpRig Tribute case. Here's where the LEDs are coming out. We're not quite sure. We're kind of playing around with the idea of how far out to put them, but it gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. Water clear LEDs, purple UV for the hard drive activity, white for the motherboards. There's two motherboards, so obviously we have two power lights. And here we'll show you the board. We'll just go ahead and try to fit it in here. Make sure it all sizes up. And screw holes line up perfect. We got plenty of space on each side. And looks like a winner. I'm going to start placing the components on the board. Let's see if I can get it to where you can see this good. We're doing this kind of freehand. Sometimes, you know, you don't get them perfect, so sometimes you have to press them in there a little bit more.
What are these connectors for, Vern?
This is the connectors to get the power from the motherboard and the hard drive activity, I'm assuming, which will probably be on a SATA card, SATA RAID card, to the LEDs themselves. And they pass, you know, you gotta, let's see over here. You got your plug, connector, however you want to say it, plugs onto there. Well, sometimes they're a little tough, especially when you got so many. So you plug that onto there, and Normally this other end would go to your motherboard. I use really small solder wire for doing really tight traces like this because it just makes it a little easier.
Do you know what gauge that is?
0.015 diameter.
Okay.
And you know, available at Radio Shack, of course, which, you know. And I know this might not be the way method everybody uses for soldering.
It works for you,
but it works for me, and I get good solder joints out of it.
right? And you've never gotten return any complaints?
Not yet, and I don't intend to. I always had luck doing it this way. And there's two perfectly nice silver joints. Alright, we're done soldering in the connector. So there's that. It's a little bit, it's about right. A little bit spaced, but then again I had to use two because didn't have a dual line in stock. So now we're going to start putting in the LEDs. Alright, if you don't know, the long lead on an LED is positive. You can also tell up around the rim of the LED there's a flat area on one side. That's the negative, which is also the short side. So positives are going, if I remember correctly, to the inside. So we'll place a white one there. Oop, and I'm going the wrong side too, sorry. I'm going to kind of pseudo surface mount these. They got through holes, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it up about that far, solder it in, and then we'll go to the next one.
Cool.
So place it on its side here. Iron. We'll be soldering on this side. Come on, getting the last LED soldered in here. If I can get it. Come on, there you go. And it's stuck. Alright. Alright, there's the LEDs in place. Now, one thing I've been doing is using a handy little set of flush cuts here on the back. Now it's nice all the way across. One thing I will have to do, because of the way I'm soldering them in, it's kind of hard to get them even. If you can look down the line there, you'll see they're kind of, you know, kind of off. So what I'll do now is I'll go back, starting up here at the top, and I'll start lining them up. Basically heat one leg and then move the LEDs side to side, just to get them all lined up, because we don't want them shooting off different directions. Got all of our LEDs aligned. They're all pretty much straight, and let's see how she fits.
Force fit! Need a hammer?
Just dropped right in.
Alright, man, that's awesome.
Looks like that template.
And we can adjust it with shims to see how far we want it in or out.
Right on, it doesn't hit the door too.
Yeah.
No, door is going to be right here.
Yeah, the door goes in.
Oh, so
right. Yep.
okay. So I
No
didn't
problem.
know if there's anything covering that.
Nope.
No, not yet.
Looks great, man.
Yeah.
Alright.
So what's the next stage?
Pretty much we're going to wire up some test leads to it just to make sure everything's functioning. And there you go.
What did you concoct?
A little bit of a, well, let's call it a modder special. Basically, I've jumped a regular ATX power supply to start it. I've got the negative from all the LEDs going to
Now, how'd you jump the power supply?
right here. I made a little bitty jumper pin out of a 3-pin connector, and you know, you jump. I can't remember the exact pin number.
Green and black?
Green and black.
Anything green to black will work.
Well, on a normal power supply. Now, there's some Dells, you know, and stuff that aren't like this. If you look it up on on Google, just do a Google
How to
search.
jump a power supply.
Yeah, and basically I've just fixed a way to test the LEDs just to make sure they work.
And then you wanted to use the 3-volt wire.
Yeah, the 3 volts out of most ATX power supplies is orange, and you know, you can get it off the ATX plug. I'm getting it off the auxiliary plug here for I think this was for P4 systems, and I'm going to basically just stick these wires, which are all connected to the anode of the LED, down in here. And we have juice, fellas.
And there's what it looks like.
Alright. I already insulated the board with the tape, so we're just going to kind of test fit it.
See what it looks like.
And we're just going to stick her in right here.
Wow.
There you go.
I think it was made for it.
Awesome, man. Very cool. So what we've got is we got purple UV, which are going to be all the hard drives, and then clear for each motherboard, the power on for the gaming side DFI, and then the server side motherboard, the tie-in, are both clear LEDs at the top. So this is actually upside down right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, those look awesome. Let's take a look at the back too real quick. Yeah, we just got that tape in there so we don't short circuit it until we get fastened in. So that's awesome, man.